6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty, and we're
and they're off.
Oops, there we go. Hang on a minute. It is for some very unusual reason. The timer has gone a bit interesting. Let's see if we can.
92 minutes.
92 minutes. There we go. You know, I actually forgot to reset that at the end of last night. So the timers are going to be a little bit off. ST already 92 minutes behind.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. That's a big deficit to climb back from. But you know what? If there's any team that can do it, it's ST. All right. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, stealth coming out, of course, for both groups to avoid those beginning slubblings. And there's an invisible boss for QQ, I think.
Yeah, that has now been addressed
on the Discord.
And also the boss appears. Oh no, there we go. The boss is now. What the hell was going on there on the QQ side? The boss was kind of weirdly out of position.
Several low players from ST actually.
Yeah,
right off the gate.
Oh wow, yeah.
Looking like they're stacking those dragon hunters. There's the first pound coming out from Sloth now, and they do avoid it, getting healed up pretty well.
Getting through these break bars
by the way,
as well. Yeah, there is a bit. I'm watching the stream now because that was the invisible boss issue. There is a little bit of delay, but yeah. ST still kind of holding firm here. They are going for a big DPS. ST will be slightly delayed here, guys, because of watching the stream now as opposed to the observer. So there will be no lives, but no downstates so far from either player here. We see the build tempos open from Fennec. He is ready. He's ready to go big here. No, there's actually. Oh no.
Teapot.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a full wipe.
Here.
Yeah, well, I can see I can see QQ, but yeah, QQ is fully dead there. And there's that death counter. That's kind of racking up there. Racking up very, very hard, unfortunately. So, yeah. There we go. QQ struggling there on Sloth. They're going to have to re-stealth and go for this again. Meanwhile, ST is busy powering ahead, but over halfway through Sloth at this point.
Yeah, I don't. What happened there? I guess maybe one or two players just got caught. And
ST loses someone, though.
I don't think they... Oh, they do?
Yeah, they absolutely do. They have lost someone. That's not what they need.
Was that a DPS? A little harder for me to tell on this stream.
Yeah, I believe it is a DPS player that has been taken down. So that is okay. I mean, I think ST is still going to be able to get away with this. They are not having any additional difficulties so far. Now, the question is, will they be able to meet the tight DPS check that they've set for themselves? But after that lost play, it looks like they will. I think they've actually cleared quite far. Actually, they're playing it quite safe here, so they should be completely okay to kind of lock this down.
Now, why do you think that we're seeing the DH stack from QQ? As opposed to only one DH on the side of ST?
Well, it may kind of be a personal preference thing. It may just be more DPS. I am surprised that we don't see more Dragon Hunters actually from ST, and this is a very, very good boss for DH because of the burst here as well. QT love their Ellies, man. Like QT and SC, they're all about those, that at Ellie stuff. Oh, it looks like the HP meter isn't working. That is deeply unfortunate. Oh, well, I'm just going to get rid of it then.
By the way, I believe you can probably go back to the spectate for ST if you wanted to.
Oh, fantastic! Hooray!
And then I won't hopefully risk spoiling anything, but who knows, But we're about 50% on the boss HP for QQ. So after their unfortunate wipe, they're doing a nice job of getting back into it, but they really don't want to mess up here because if they messed up again on Sloth, there's at the moment. The only way they win at this point is if ST messes up themselves on Mathias, because of course they're not going to have any issues with Trio. At most, maybe someone messes up, falls asleep, and dies. But
okay, yeah. Are you sure about that? I don't know, dude. I mean, Trio, you never know.
Trio might stop ST in their tracks.
You never know. You don't know, guys. You don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look at what QQ is up to. We can kind of wait. Okay, let's see what the situation is.
One of their last few break bars. Kind of a slow CC. A little bit of a slow break there. Maybe, not sure if they're having some issues with that. But either way, it's looking all right. There's the flame breath coming out there. They're going to be able to avoid that. Looking okay, though. All 9 players still alive, still healthy. So they should be doing pretty well. That Berserker actually getting pretty close to the top of that DPS meter, doing a nice job.
Oh, that's a downside for QQ. The shake.
The shake. To the shake. And that's where you got to be careful. Ooh, next break bar coming up here. This is a big one. If they can get it out, they should be okay. They still have 8 members alive. It's absolutely doable now, but they have to be really careful they don't lose any more players here and start snowballing.
They're probably going to have to deal with another shake. There's probably going to be another shake that they're still going to have to deal with. So they have to be careful with that.
Yeah, there's a pound.
A bit of damage getting taken there. Do they have enough time? Yeah, they should have enough time. They've got enough space on the floor on this final break bar, and they'll be able to move on.
Oh, but it's so slow. It's taking them so long to CC it.
Ooh, okay, no, yeah. They can't die anymore.
Yeah,
QQ will be able to take down Sloth. QQ is getting some work done here.
Yeah, there's a shake there at the end. It does actually drop a player.
Oh, two dead.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you almost jinxed them there.
Yeah.
A little risky, but no, that's
the curse is strong,
okay.
Man.
The curse is not happening yet, but we do of course see them. Their second attempt succeeding on Sloth, and now they make their way to trio, but they are at least a couple of minutes behind ST. And as I mentioned, there's really no way to speed things up with trio. It's basically just a time gate, and it is next to impossible that ST has mistakes or loses even a single player on trio, and would have to restart it. I don't think we should ever see any of these groups having to restart trio. That would be spectacular.
Very unlikely.
So,
I think.
Yeah, it's really just going to come down to if if ST somehow messes up getting to Mathias from here, if their pre-event skips aren't that good, and QQ is able to perfect them a little bit better, and then if ST messes up on Mathias. So, what a wing like this where, I think the first group that makes a mistake, it just already the other group is ahead 100%. Like there's some wings where I think, if you mess up on a boss, you have a lot more time to get back into it. Obviously, this is one of the shorter wings, so that's part of it, but especially considering trio, is just a time gate. There's really not a lot of room for catching up, a lot of room for error in this wing, which is why it's actually such an interesting wing, being as short as it is. And unfortunately, as I say that, a QQ player does die.
Yeah. And that's just at the very start as well. Yeah, that's not what you want. I mean, that right at the start of trio, it's not a good place to be, really, is it? You don't want to be there.
What are they doing? I mean, that's just sloppy. That's just sloppy, and you can't be doing that. And that's what's going to, things like that are going to cost them. Again, even though it doesn't really matter, it's not really going to necessarily slow them down. And again, they wouldn't really have any way to speed things up. But if they lose another couple players, they might have to restart trio. And if they had that game's over at that point. There's no way they catch up.
Yeah, well, then you've got to get through all of that all over again.
Mistakes. Losing a player in trio is basically unacceptable. I mean, you can't do that. And look, they lose a second player.
No, not to trio. Surely they won't wipe to trio.
What is going on with this group right now?
QQ
Are they awake?
is in trouble. QQ is in a lot of trouble here. Like, now look, 7-man trio actually starts to get a little bit scary, by the way. Like, at that point, it's like, hang on a minute. Like, this is maybe not looking so good. I guess they don't sell this very often. They haven't got a lot of practice. Trio is one of those bosses where if you downstate, I mean, who cares, right? It's trio. It's just trio, man. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
But no,
but you can't downstate here.
You can't do that here. That is not allowed, guys. And
man, are we actually going to see a wipe on? That would be nutty. That would be
pretty nutty.
I would feel bad for QQ, but I'd honestly love it because that's just wiping on trio. I mean, how does that happen? Well, either way, Berg coming up here, first boss in the trio event here for QQ, down to 7 players. And I mean, again, even if they get through it, and again, it's not like it's going to necessarily take longer than it would have if they had 9 men. This has to feel bad for them. They have to be freaking out and stressing and wondering why these people are dying on what is probably one of, if not the easiest encounters of all 7 raid wings. And, even if they lose this raid wing, they still have to go against ST again. They don't want to get knocked out. They don't want to drop out of this bracket already. But making mistakes like this is going to mess with your mind. And that's honestly really important when it comes down to things like 1% on a boss. And, having to solo that, like we saw yesterday, or coming down to wiping at 2% on Doom. I mean, those are the reasons. Those things are going to build up and mess you up and ruin your runs and stop you from being able to win. You can't do this.
Mentality is a really big part of this and a big part of competition in general, right? And like this can't feel good, right? I mean, QQ, we do see they have a portal. They have that going for them, right? They are doing this portal strategy to get that done. So that's very, very smart there by them. So that will allow them to at least keep pace with ST moving through to Mathias. My worry here is that can they actually beat trio? If they lose another player at that point, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, you'll look at how they took quite a long time to kill Berg comparatively with ST. Right, so I mean, this is actually very scary. I think it's very, very scary right now for QQ. They can't afford to lose one more player, and I would even say that they have a fairly high chance of actually wiping to the Bandit trio here.
Yeah, and this is after Sloth, right? Especially in a tournament setting, you're thinking, okay, we finished Sloth. you know, that can be a tricky boss, not necessarily the hardest, but we got through it. Good job. Now we have Trio. We can kind of relax. We can kind of collect and regroup and get ready for Mathias, which is a boss that we have to make sure we don't mess up on. We don't lose players. But now they actually have to focus on Trio. They cannot lose more players because they'll have to restart it, and that just costs them. That means they have no chance of getting back into this wing, and that's a really big part. So, you know, that's got to feel pretty bad for them. We see Narella now going to be started up here and going to be quickly finished, of course, by ST, who are going to have their portal ready to get them back up and start speeding ahead through this pre-event for Mathias. And they're looking good. They're looking clean, not having lost a single player, of course, on Sloth or Mathias. Sorry, one player on Sloth, but none on Trio. And we should expect to see a pretty clean Mathias from them. But,
QQ loses another one. QQ's down.
Oh,
this is bad. God. No. It's full GG. They're gonna call it. They're gonna call it. Oh no, QQ has wiped to Trio, guys. And
dear. I mean, honestly, that's got to feel terrible. That's got to just feel horrible. Wiping on Trio.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see, right? Like you really don't want to see that.
That is not how you want to start this off. Look, losing the first wing is one thing, okay? Losing to ST, a strong contender for top team in this bracket, a strong contender to get to the finals. Losing to them is one thing, but wiping on Trio in your first wing of the day, that's got to feel terrible. And you still have to do at least one more raid wing after this. And not only that, but you should be wanting to get to a third one so you can still win. But oh man, their mental has got to be absolutely blown right now as ST continues just barreling straight through this pre-event to Mathias. And are we going to see ST finish Mathias before QQ finishes Trio?
That might, in fact, well, on paper that should happen. Mathias is a very quick boss, and Trio is not a quick encounter. It takes an extremely long time. I think it takes around like 6 minutes or something like that. So it's just like a strict time gate. So at the end of the day, like in theory, ST should actually be done before QQ.
Yeah. And portaling straight into the Mathias room, we see. Obviously, all the guilds who were here yesterday did the same thing. ST not going to be the only ones out, and Mathias is going to be begun for ST as Trio is now being started for a second time for QQ. And if ST, with the Mirage stack, we see them having swapped over to most of the Mirages here, as expected. If they don't mess up on Mathias, if they just have a nice clean Mathias run, you know, we're probably going to be done before QQ finishes Trio. But you know, if you were QQ right now, would you really be worrying about finishing this wing? Because honestly, if it was me, I would probably just stop. I would probably talk to everyone on Discord or TeamSpeak or whatever and say, listen, we messed up. We blew it. All right.
Yeah.
We didn't have the best Sloth run, but we still got past it. And then something happened. We lost a couple players where we never should have. We failed something that we never should have. We just need to focus up, recollect. We have 2 more raid wings. We don't lose another one. We can still beat ST. And I just think that's what you do instead of continuing to play. I mean, if ST wipes, you know, maybe they can come back into it, but ST would have to wipe at least twice, if not 3 or 4 times on Mathias for them to catch up. I think you just go next, honestly.
Well, they may be in the process of doing that. You know, they're probably aware of the situation where ST is now 60% on Mathias. At that point, you've got to think, yeah, you know, like it's time just to kind of write that one off. And they may just be processing it, right, just relaxing and just kind of letting it happen, right, and then just not being too worried about it really, because they have a very, very low chance to come back here, and they've got to be thinking about preparing for the next raid wing and how they're going to come back. And I think perhaps as we say this though, ST does lose a player, and that is not good actually. Losing, well, it is a Mirage, so it is replaceable at least. Hopefully
it wasn't the only one with feedback.
Yeah, well, that would be pretty awkward, but I don't think that'll be the case. But losing some DPS is going to slow them down. But again, on Mathias, that's really not an issue, right? That it really is. Yeah. It's not that important.
Yeah, they should be all right. And you know, obviously, what I said about QQ, you know, just saying go next. Of course, if ST does start wiping, you know, then them obviously barreling through and sticking with it is the right call to make, and that's absolutely 100%. But you know, I'd be very surprised if you see that. ST losing a player, well, you know, that could be the start of something. We'll have to see what happens. But we are at just a little bit above 35%.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much, especially on Mathias, right? Like Mathias can just bop you. You know, if the Revenant misclicks and doesn't get the projectile destruction to cancel this attack, for example, right? If a Reflect is misclicked and that happens, we've seen that happen before, right? Like it can go wrong very, very quickly, right? If a few players just happen to stand on top of each other, that's Zed, get caught in a tornado, dead. And there is
going a little bit low.
Yeah. There's a little bit of low health going on here from ST. They need to make sure they get back together and go for that big heal. They do get it, and they are now getting into the last 20% of Mathias here. So it's looking strong, but they're only a Hadouken away from being dead, right? Like that's what this is. You know, they need to be very, very careful. It's interesting to see that they've got the balls to run a Weaver even on this boss, right? Like even with 11k health, right? Like that's. No, they're going for it, right? They are very, very, very squishy. No, very, very, very squishy.
And a Soul Beast too. Is that that's one of the first Soul Beasts I think we've seen.
It's a Soul Beast tournament, presumably for spirits, I guess. You know, going for some of that big DPS.
And I guess they just didn't bring the Druid because they think they don't need the second healer, obviously with the Renegade. And so they take the Soul Beast just to keep those. But nonetheless, that is going to be a Mathias completed here, and a more or less very, very clean wing 2 here for ST over QQ. And QQ are going to have to do something different.
For wing 2. Put up a fight against the fearsome ST. And we are going off right now directly into the pre-event, which is going to be truly riveting to watch. Now, this is an interesting thing, though, actually. Like, you know, the pre-event, guys, it may not be the most exciting content in the universe, but I will say we did see that LN were able to maximize all of the efficiency that they had to get through this event very, very quickly. And let's see if ST or QQ will be able to kind of replicate that there as well. QQ actually slightly getting a better end of that initial capture there, I believe. Yeah, they're already moving on. And wait, hang on a minute. So yeah, ST is leaving someone to cap and then moving on, preparing for the NPCs, already getting rid of them. That is pretty nice there as well. So they may be able to gain a little bit of ground there. But a few errant NPCs slowing down ST in the opening of the raid wing.
Yeah, and it looks like not huge disparity between the two comps. Just a lot of Dragon Hunters on both sides. Obviously, we do see Reaper. Oh, and we actually see a downstate too for ST. They lose a DH. And how big is that in this pre-event, losing a DPS?
To be honest, that's really big. So not only will this mean that they may have a harder time clearing out these ads to try and capture these circles, at the end they have to kill 3 champions, and that's going to drastically slow them down, actually. Just not. That's very, very unfortunate, actually.
I unfortunately, I was looking up. I had the QQ screen up. Did you see what he died?
It was probably the champion, right? Like the champion probably just whacked him in the head. Is almost certainly what happened there. You know, they are quite dangerous, right? Like these mobs are actually quite scary, especially if you're in a low HP class. Now, one thing people forget about Dragon Hunter, right? People think, oh yeah, it's a heavy class, right? So it's tanky, it's really, you know, it's got a lot of health. But that's really not the case. Guardian, of course, has the lowest base health pool possible, right? It has 11,000. You may have heavy armor and you've got a few blocks, but if you've got no block and you take a critical hit, then well, you're actually pretty dead, right? And pretty dead quickly as well. Now QQ actually having a slight advantage here. Their pre-event is going a little bit faster than ST's, potentially because of that play. Although I think ST actually hand-res them. They hand-res them, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hand-res here.
Yeah,
it's not a boss event. Anytime you're allowed to, or able to res out in combat, I should say, then you are able to res.
Yes, so, that's exactly right.
Don't worry, no shenanigans going on. They're allowed to do that, but that does take time, and it does mean they had a bit of a slower start. It also means they know that they can die, and that is not something that they wanted to be aware of course. But hopefully, we won't see that happening again.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not what they want. Oh, actually, it turns out that they actually just got out of combat and he just pressed revive, which is, of course, also allowed as well. So that's even better, even faster. But, you know, losing a player temporarily did cost them a few seconds anyway. So, you know, the point does still stand, right? And now we see both of these guilds going crazy, bursting down these champions, starting on opposite sides, actually, ST. Or have they actually split? No, I don't think they have. They're going to take out these champions. QQ now moving over to the double champion, right? There's like a 1 champion on one side and 2 champions on the other. ST bursting them down now.
See the Reaper on the side of ST. We don't see Reapers very often at all. What's the reason to bring a Reaper? Well, instead of a Scourge, I suppose. Obviously, power damage over Condi. But why bring a Reaper at all? Why not just another Dragon Hunter like QQ is doing?
I think there's a very good reason they brought the Reaper. And you're definitely going to see that develop very, very soon. Actually, Roy. It's misclick probably. I don't know what they have done this for. It may, in fact, I know. It may well be for a Scourge to swap over for the Air Boss, but it's actually not because they relogged. So yeah, there you go. Now this is a bit. We're gonna have a little bit of downtime now. We might as well just kind of take a look at the compositions that these groups are going to be running. I think they are going to be going for Air Boss first. They're going to do both of the pre-events simultaneously to get those out of the way, and then probably move over to Air Boss if I had to guess. So there's probably going to be one Scourge, right? One Scourge per group to epidemic those adds, and then just a bunch of power classes to kind of clean everything up. So that's exactly what's going to be happening there for both guilds, I assume. Would be exciting to see them go a different route though, and maybe you would have QQ go for Earth and maybe ST go for Air, and then we don't really know what the hell is going on, and we got to wait all the way until the final encounter.
We'll see both going for Earth as usual. But yeah, it would be very nice to see them kind of swap it up, and we'd have two different things to look at. But although that could also be too confusing for people, for someone like me who I just, I have a small brain, so it's hard for me to keep up with multiple different things happening at once. But who knows? I'll do my best. Nonetheless, downtime. Yeah. What do you do right now? I mean, if you're one of these raiders, while you're sitting here,
you just go grab a drink, maybe make a cup of tea, just kind of AFK a little bit. You could listen to the roleplay. Maybe you're big into the roleplay, right? You're big into the RP, maybe. It's entirely possible. Maybe you are. Maybe you aren't, right? It's there's a lot of stuff you could be doing right now. Just
some stretches,
just
maybe.
Yeah, just enjoying what's going on, right? Just embracing the memes, that sort of thing. So yep, you see Firebrand here for Fennec as well. So and there we go. ST is through. They have gained a little bit of time there, and they're about to, they're on the Earth Boss pre-event already. They're going to beat that down. There we go. And there you have it. So what you have to do here is it becomes vulnerable. It basically role plays as Adina, right? It fires out the rocks into the pillars, and you have to destroy the pillars to make it vulnerable. And well, that's exactly what. Oh, hang on, is ST? ST may be actually going for Earth here first, perhaps. Their players are in position to go for that. They may just be going for the Ley Rift, actually. In fact, I think that is exactly what they're doing. Oh no, they are indeed going for Earth, actually, by the looks of this. They're going for Earth first, and QQ may well be doing the opposite. We'll see what decision they decide to make in just a few moments when their pre-event completes as well. Now, Adina is one of those bosses where a wipe may happen. Now, there won't be any downsides here because everything is kind of an instant death situation. So, if that laser beam hits you, if you fall on the sand, you're just dead, no downside. So this is quite a punishing encounter. QQ losing a player on the pre-event now, which is certainly not what they're looking for there.
No, not at all. It's very
no, cancel that. ST is actually going for Air Boss, and they've been on Air Boss for a while, actually. Just they just took the layer back. They debated us. They actually hard debated us. They turned the CM on. I think they just turned the CM on and then just took the Rift and then went to do Air Boss. No, it's going to be the same old boys. We got debated.
Maybe I just don't know. Did QQ full wipe there, or they're just resetting? Or sorry, getting the checkpoint and restarting from there?
That is probably what they're doing. It's almost impossible to actually wipe on that encounter. We see a bunch of Firebrands here for ST actually. So yeah, Firebrand is one of those builds that is actually very bursty, even when it's a condition spec, right? And they're just going to be stacking up those 25 burns. It's going to make their epidemic very potent. Having Aegis as well is very, very strong. Now, what we don't see is that really interesting strat that LN were using with the Thief, with Shadow Step teleporting up to those adds. I mean, that's that may be a distinction. Like maybe though they're going to get more value out of just having higher DPS and fully ignoring everything. Of course, Firebrand does have access to stuff like Reflex and Resistance, so they can just hop into those tomes, and then they can go ahead and just put up some Reflex and chain those together and completely ignore the adds. That may be what ST is going for here. A very, very aggressive strategy, which will require a lot of coordination. Let's see if they're able to pull it off. And QQ, the dream has come true because they're starting on Earth Boss here.
They are indeed, and they've got it now to this first little phase here. It looks like about 80% on the Earth Jin, Adina. And, I personally really liked both of these bosses. I just thought they had some cool little mechanics, not necessarily really challenging, but there are definitely some things, especially with the no down state, that can catch you up and honestly cause you to start losing players, especially as the boss fight goes on longer. So it'll be interesting to see if they do anything, especially here. I think with the Earth boss, I know watching your stream sometimes, you implement the Scourge portal quite often, and that actually helps you speed things up on this hand phase, especially later on when you have more hands spawn. And it'll be interesting to see if they do anything with that. They do have a thief, so we might see that shadow portal, though of course it can't get all 9 of their players through, but they may implement that a little bit, maybe split up on the hands. But yeah, definitely interesting to see how they deal with that, and if they do anything that'll make their run a little bit faster than ST's.
No. So far is just standard play from both sides. On QQ, you see that Renegade there. They're going to be using the Renegade to put the bubble up, right? The bubble's going to be up to prevent them getting knocked off by the hands throwing rocks at them or anything like that. So, yeah, it's just very standard stuff. Dragon Hunter is an incredibly good class, but I'll tell you what, what's a really good class? It's apparently Berserker, who is not only providing banners, is also kind of getting away with very, very high DPS there. Nearly top DPS for QQ. Warrior's beast mode, man. Yeah. He's going crazy. ST. As it stands right now, they are a little bit behind in theory, but they're actually not. Sabir is a longer encounter than Adina. So ST, even though they are percentage-wise a little bit behind on the health of their Jhin, I think time-wise they are still going to end up ahead.
And they've lost a player as well.
No, and I actually think that's an important player as well.
And that's a druid. Oh, that is an important player.
That's a druid. They don't want to be losing that. That's definitely going to compromise them. They do still have one healer left over with their Renegade, and they will still have boons as well. Like the Boon Thief will be able to provide output for them. So I think that's not the end of the world. They've lost DPS output from losing spirits and very, very high 25 might uptime. But I think they're still okay. It's very possible to do that. And what they need to be doing is exactly what you see there, right? You'll notice that they stack 2 pillars on top of each other. They did that to destroy them because Adina will still fire, she'll still damage all of the pillars, right? Even if there's no player standing behind them, right? She sends out that shockwave as you see there. And for every pillar that's up, there will still be damage reduction. Oh, that is bad. They did,
That's their warrior gun now. That's a big DPS loss.
Yes.
A very big DPS loss.
They're in trouble.
30% though. It's still possible, especially because they have that second healer. But the thief dies too.
Oh, okay.
And now it's looking.
They've got to reset it. Yeah, they've got to reset it. That's over. That's completely over. Unfortunately, that's not going to cut it at all.
Over at ST, they're at 20% for the Air Jhin. See here, they haven't lost a single player so far. It is looking very good for them. The CC bar, 15% left now, and if they can finish it right here, they will certainly be ahead of QQ, looking to close it out. On this raid wing right here, and it's very unfortunate. Not what you want if you're QQ. You just have to kind of hope that ST runs into some issues, maybe here at the end with Jhin.
It's very unlikely, and I'm very impressed by ST. We haven't really been commenting too much on ST because I haven't even seen their health bars move right. Like it's just, I think that their composition, their setup. Abusing those firebrands with those permanent agency, unless they all died. It would be quite funny if they all died to this, wouldn't it? Okay, no, they didn't. That's it. There you go. ST takes down Sabir. Now they're going to be moving over to the Earth boss as well. And I imagine that those firebrands will swap to Dragon Hunter here. But let's see if they do. They might not actually. They may actually continue with this exact same composition because they could actually chain reflex, right, using those firebrands. Now, if they really do favor the firebrand, they can get away with that. Now, I do think that it will be Dragon Hunters because that will Adina is a boss. It kind of favors power classes because of bursting down the hands, right? You want to be bursting those hands down as quickly as possible.
Something that's interesting to me, looking at QQ's subgroup setup, why do they have the thief alone? I know obviously it's a boon thief, but they can't have the boon thief with the other subgroups?
Well, I mean, they can. I just think they want to optimize. They're trying to optimize for stuff like banner uptime, right, and stuff like that, right? Oh no, actually, well, I mean, I don't know why they are doing that exactly, really. I mean, I guess no, it's for like a healing priority, I think, probably actually, to make sure that because the thief is probably a little bit tankier, so it's probably okay, right? And they're doing that. Hang on though. ST instantly having some issues there, unfortunately, for that. So yeah, they're trying to make sure that all their guardians are having retaliation, right? And that kind of boon distribution, right? But yeah, Yeah, they're not optimizing banner uptime because banner's a 10-man. There you go. Yeah, it's for, you know, stuff like Assassin's Presence, right, to make sure that those Dragon Hunters get that extra ferocity. Because the DPS of the Boon Thief, right, like, isn't really that relevant, so they don't need to have that extra memes, right, those extra memes.
What happened with ST, though, starting on Earth Boss? Someone has maybe DC'd.
Oh, no, then, okay, ST may well be having connection issues once again. I mean, that would not be ideal. I mean, they are going to persist with the 8-man by the looks of this, actually.
That means it's probably a hard DC then, no? Unless, no, but he's still online. I'm not really sure what happened there. If I was them, I would just reset, no? Well, they should probably just stop and...
If they're able to get back into the instance, and that's obviously what they are going to want to do. And yeah, the player has returned to the instance. I wonder what their actual play is. Will they try and continue, or will they go for a reset? I mean, ST, I mean, even yesterday, we saw this
they could
well, right? They do seem to be plagued, right? They do seem to be plagued with some connection issues, right? Over really these past few days.
Yeah, as we just said, their TeamSpeak having some issues too, so hopefully, we're not going to see them lose based on just, connection issues. I'd be surprised if that happens. Again, if, I feel pretty confident that we could see them 8-man it, but it's a risk that they're taking here, doing essentially the entire run 8-man. If they wipe at a very low percentage of the boss because they had that one player DC at the start and didn't just decide to reset it, that would be very, very unfortunate for them. Obviously, if they do decide, or if they do, or they are able to complete it, it does mean they will save themselves some time. And it's, honestly, part of the reason I love this tournament is just because taking that sort of risk, having to make that decision, it's very interesting, and it could play off very well, or it could cost you, which, so hopefully it won't cost them. We'll have to see what happens.
No.
Boss on QQ, almost dead, though. Looking like a much smoother second run here. They're about to finish. I'm not sure if this is the last hand phase, but one of the last hand phases here. With the four hands to get the first one.
Yeah, they should be good to go here. It looks like QQ will be able to nail us down and move on to Sabir. Now, if ST is not able to make it through here, that's when they can start to encounter some difficulties, right? Yeah. If QQ kills, they are in a pretty okay spot to make some kind of catch-up. ST is persisting, though, and they do seem to be stable as well, getting the boss Adina now to 50%. Look at those beams. Look at those sand beams going. Now, this is pretty scary, right? This is pretty nerve-wracking. And on progression, this was horrifying because there's nothing worse than just missing that jump, right? Like missing that jumping puzzle, and then you just fall into the sand and you don't make it, and it's not what you want to see happen, right? Absolutely, at all, right? And yeah, ST actually splitting here. Look at the split here from ST, and they're going. Yeah, look at that lovely split there. I'm going to be taking everything down at the same time.
We're going to see them portal with the thief now, maybe, to get back together.
Well, they don't. They probably don't need to, right? They can just run back to the middle, right? They're taking all the hands down simultaneously, and chaining reflects there with the firebrands, right? So,
right. I guess they are 4-4 since they did lose a player. I was thinking maybe they had 5 on one side, so they'd be a little bit faster. But yeah, it's 4-4, so it should be pretty much the same. Well, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Low health bar here, one of the firebrands, but should be fine. I think it's looking like their gamble might have paid.
Yeah, QQ able to achieve victory there, and they're going to be moving on to the air gen. And I think maybe the problem there with ST is that their strategy is based around having 9 players, right? So one set of hands probably was lacking a player, and that's why they took a little bit longer there. Because rearranging that sort of thing, like who's going where mid-run, is maybe a little bit impractical. But yeah, let's see how this is going to go. They've just got 30% to go. Are they going to be able to maintain what they've been doing so far? It is looking very, very good for them, nearing in on the final phase, the final hand phase. And then after the final hand phase, it should be more or less a clear run. If they can get through that with all their players intact, I imagine they will be feeling very, very confident about that. But okay, now this beam phase as well. This beam phase is actually the easiest one. You can simply just run around the middle here. You don't really have to do anything. Very, very easy there. The second one is the one where it can get a little bit scary. So I think ST is looking in very good shape. I don't foresee any problems from here on out. They've demonstrated that they have a very solid strategy for dealing with this.
QQ. Speaking of problems, the first attempt for QQ on the air gen not going well. They lose a player almost immediately and decide to just GG it instead of trying to 8-man like like ST just were. They do get it back up pretty quickly, but that's again just not how you want to be starting this boss. They have have to stop making these mistakes if they're going to be able to have any hope of, getting to Kadeem and beating Kadeem. Because even though they're obviously behind quite a bit, they still have to kill Airjin, and Urchin is looking like it's probably going to be taken down here for ST. If ST is having any issues with Kadeem too, which is certainly possible, very difficult encounter, one of the hardest, then, QQ can come back into it. They just need to be able to get through their Jin here and make it a nice clean run and then go to Kadeem. But at the moment, making these mistakes, it's not really working. Interesting swap here, though, for QQ from the all Dragon Hunter run they had in the Airjin. The Earthjin. They've gone full Mirage here. And what is the reason for that? Because we saw all Firebrands from ST.
Well, it's curious actually because he does attack quite fast actually. So Mirage is a very solid DPS choice here for QQ, and it does allow them to take feedback as well, right? And as ST just about to finish off Adina in just a few moments. There we go. There you have it. They're moving on to Kadeem too. But yeah, Mirage is a solid DPS choice, and they can take that feedback to counter the annoying projectiles, right, of Sabir. But yeah, it's unusual to see this actually. Like it's considered to be a very power favored boss because of how it's short phases, right? Like, or rather, not necessarily power, but burst, right? And conditions are typically not associated with burst. Like the reason you see Firebrands used by ST was for the fact that it's an extremely bursty condition build, right? It's a very much an outlier. It plays very differently in that way. But yeah, Mirage, it's a curious choice here as well. But you know, it does seem to work out for them. They have that high DPS output, and they can probably utilize Reflex there as well to prevent themselves getting taken down by the ads. So yeah, interesting. They still have that Scourge there as well to epidemic stuff, and that will actually kill the ads very quickly, because if they're epidemic in confusion, the ads attack incredibly fast, right? And those ads will suicide themselves extremely quickly, actually. Now, oh yeah. The one thing with Mirage is if you use Axe 3 at the wrong time on this fight, it can teleport you into the tornado, and then you just you die instantly.
That is definitely unfortunate. Something they're gonna have to be careful not to do. Yeah, but nonetheless, they're doing all right. 30% down on the boss's HP now, breaking that CC bar, getting the CC bar down. And hopefully we're going to see them just be able to steadily get through this. And like I said, you know, the game is not over. They're obviously, you know, a good distance behind ST, but one bad run, one bad pull for ST on Kadeem 2 here, and they can easily catch up as long as they don't
especially if it's deep
on the Urgent.
This is why these, and you know, this goes back to, you know, when you were talking about which bosses they prepare for the most, and one of the reasons why I think you'll often see guilds preparing for the final boss a lot more is because they're typically considerably longer than the other ones, right? And Kadeem too is a monster, right? Both in his stature and the duration of his enrage. It is quite the gargantuan enrage. I mean, wow, ST, they're getting straight down to business. Of course, that little bit of RP there allows them to have time to get those relogs going through there, right? So they're instantly preparing to go in. Yep, that is for this pylon kiting roll, right? So in the same way that you have, you know, on Kadeem 1, how you have this kite mechanic where you have to kill all the little slimes, you know, ArenaNet decided, you know what, okay, that wasn't enough. You actually have 3 kiting rolls on Kadeem 2, and you have to have these 3 ranged classes all, you know, standing at range on these pylons, sniping stuff down, and then teleporting over to the orbs. And you know what? What is really cool is that we see the same strategy exactly used that the LN used, right? 2 Deadeyes, 1 Scourge. Now, the Scourge is a lower DPS option, but it's got Epidemic to kill ads in the last phase, which is very, very handy. And it also has the Scourge portal, which other people can use to get to the safe zone at 40% there. I love that decision by ST to go for that option there. And you still have 2 Deadeyes who are doing a lot of DPS. And I think the reason they put the Scourge over there, like all the way at the top one, is because that pylon is broken first, right? Like Kadeem takes that one first. That allows the Necro to get to the group first, because it's not as useful on its own. Oh wow, that was terrifying there for ST. I believe their Scourge nearly got knocked into a tornado there. Oh my goodness, wow, that was probably a bit of a skipped heartbeat there. You know, that is oh my god, that's terrifying.
A little scary, for sure. But nonetheless, they are looking pretty good. 70% now on Kadeem 2, and so far, you know, no real issues as of yet. So yeah, looking pretty good on the Airjin is also looking pretty good here for QQ. They're at the last 20% now, and again, if they can finish it here clean and get over to Kadeem and just go into it strong, go into it with a good mindset, then they absolutely can still take this if ST messes up even once on Kadeem too.
Oh yeah,
so it is not over yet.
Especially because they're going big. They're going deep here as well. Oh, that is really, really fantastic there. If ST are able to not be dead here, they had some beautiful fire placements there. And I think they've even optimized it. This is something that I imagine LN probably did do this actually, but we maybe just didn't notice. But they have fully optimized their flame. That every single ad is going to end up in the last phase walking through fire towards the boss. That is really nice execution.
Yeah, it's really big.
So what you see here for ST, guys, is just as QQ is finishing off Sabir there, you'll notice that ST has placed fire in kind of like some Mickey Mouse patterns about the place. This is because the ads will move to the pylons sometimes, but at the end of the phase, when the pylons have been destroyed, they're going to walk towards the boss, which is why you see these kind of central patches of fire here. And what they're going to do is break the ads inside of the fire, and that will cause them to die. Yeah, and now ST moving onwards. They have some stability or Aegis, perhaps, to make sure they don't get knocked back. It's not so much of a threat there, more on the second two miles, but their big Kadeem has spawned. There you have it. And ST, I've got to say it, look, have they stepped it up a notch? I think they have. I think they have, Roy. I really think they have. Yeah.
We saw them struggle yesterday against Win. Again, very close matches, but, they just weren't able to bring it through. And, they had a couple really unfortunate sets there, but, they've definitely cleaned it up. And they came back into this, like I said, they went back to it after yesterday. And I think they've improved how they're playing. And I think they've improved their group cohesion, which is, of course, very important. And it's great to see. And if I was LN, I'd be getting a little worried right about now. They might have felt pretty comfortable after how they played yesterday, but now looking at this ST group,
this is very good.
Very good.
Oh, this is very clean. Very, very clean from ST actually. This is a very good Kadeem 2CM. I haven't seen even a flicker, even a flicker of failure. Right, from this group. Yeah. No one's even getting close to downside. No, there was one knock, I guess, that was, kind of, whoa, but the quick reaction time was able to save that and get the job done there. So, no, why would I ever say this? He just said, no, he got his heal skill off. Got the heal skill, is going to survive. Yeah, and he's dead. He can keep attacking. Yeah.
Very close, though.
Yeah.
That was a little bit low on that boy, but yeah, he's okay. Of course, not to completely forget about QQ, because there is still a chance ST messes up. QQ is done with the air gen. They are waiting now to get into Kadeem 2 and start their run. But at the moment, it's not looking too favorable for them. Just under 20% on Kadeem 2. And if ST does it here, which it's looking like they might, that's it. That's it. Game over for QQ.
Oh, this is masterfully done, though. This is absolutely masterful from ST. An ad has not even got close. They're going to get like every achievement all in one go here. As long as they don't fuck up and get knocked into the fire here or something, they're fine. And
maybe I can jump in there quickly and
you want to get the leech? You want to go for that stuff? No, it's good.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Oh no, ST downstate Guardian dead.
You lose a player. Now, Kadeem is very low. There's still a very good chance they do this, but that is not what you want to see. And
no.
Unfortunately, we were saying ST has looked very clean so far, but as I mentioned before, it's not been perfect. They lost a player in Sloth, they lost a player in Mathias, and they've now lost a player in Kadeem. There are issues that they still have to work on, and if they're not careful, even if they win here, they will have to go against a group that will take advantage of them having issues and exploit that. So they've got to try and do a little better. Yeah. Still, 8-man, Kadeem, 10%. Definitely doable.
I don't think that, as long as they just play it safe, make sure those ads don't make it, they are pretty much in the clear here, actually. So, ST looking to finish out and close out this Kadeem 2 in just under 30 minutes here, about 20, maybe like 27 minutes, something like that. Now, they've just got to stay together, they've got to sustain, they've got to keep this up, just a little bit of time to go here. Just like it's really, really not long now, actually. Weird animation going on there with this Deadeye. Check that out, look at that. That's high energy. Ooh, wow, that was a bit of a spicy dodge. Now you can actually jump this mechanic. This Deadeye not going for it though, and I respect that actually. The timing can be a bit weird sometimes, and if you miss it, you're pretty much dead, right? One will do a lot of damage to you, maybe even downstate you, and the second one will simply kill you. Well, in this case, the first one will probably kill you. And there you have it. It looks like ST is about to get the job done in 1 second. There we go. Just under 27 minutes. ST is your victor, and they are going to be moving on to the semi-final of the lower bracket. Congratulations to ST and commiserations to QQ.